Electrocast.
This episode is brought to you by Fox One. Watch all 104 matches of the FIFA World Cup live in 4K for just $19.99 a month with 3 days free. Build your own multi-view, choose up to 3 streams, and follow player spotlights. Stay on top of every moment with live stats, highlights, and instant replays. The FIFA World Cup, streaming live on Fox One. Offers are subject to change. See fox.com for complete terms and conditions.
This episode is brought to you by Redfin. You're listening to a podcast, which means you're probably multitasking. Maybe even scrolling home listings on Redfin, saving homes without expecting to get them. But Redfin isn't just built for endless browsing. It's built to help you find and own a home. With agents who close twice as many deals, when you find the one, you've got a real shot at getting it. Get started at redfin.com. Own the dream.
Hold on to your butts.
We are changing the course of history as we see it. That is what Wesley demands.
Now this affects Iris. Iris, where are you?
What you feel only matters to you. I do not entertain hypotheticals. The world as it is vexing enough.
Iris, I have a tip for you.
Don't take drugs!
Or Whatever Movies with Wesley and Iris.
What up, and welcome to Or Whatever Movies. I'm your co-host, Iris, and I'm here with my older brother,
Wesley Dog.
And today we're talking a movie from 2000, the culmination of Cameron Crowe month at Or Whatever Movies, the infamous Almost Famous.
AKA Untitled, AKA Vanilla Sky, a number of different iterations for this film title.
Almost Famous was almost called Vanilla Sky.
Yep, he's had that name in his back pocket for a while.
It was like a, if I had legs, I'd kick you situation.
Exactly.
Should it be Uncool?
Well, The Uncool is the name of the Cameron Crowe autobiography that chronicles his time during the making of Almost Famous and used a few times in the movie. And would have been an apt title for the movie, I think.
So when Philip Seymour Hoffman is talking to Patrick Fugit, it is after the all is lost moment. Perhaps it's the Dark Night of the Soul, where he's just had his article rejected by the band, right, unverified. So Rolling Stone has no choice but to not put it on the cover or maybe even publish it. And he's basically telling him what he told him from the beginning, except now it has meaning and weight, and he can relate to it. Now he actually understands why he was given the advice that he was given. And now he understands maybe why he's uncool. And I was thinking in this moment, this is the movie for the nerds. So this must be why you like it so much.
Almost Famous is like the musical version of The Crow. Very time and place, although I was a little bit older than the William Miller character. I look back on it fondly, but it's not one of my favorite movies. It's an extremely important movie in Cameron Crowe's body of work, I think, for obvious reasons. His most personal, his most earnest and biographical. But there's a lot 26 years later to raise your eyebrows about. I was maybe just a little bit too old for it to be profound. But you seem like you'd be in the sweet spot if you liked music.
Wow. So the Crow reference or the Crow comparison is because you were in the right place at the right time for when the Crow came out in what year?
1993, but that's kind of more pointing to you saying that The Crow is my whole personality, like it's my whole thing, my jam. The Crow is like my movie, and that's never been the case.
With Almost Famous?
I think I'm closer, to be honest, to Jerry Maguire than I am to Almost Famous.
In terms of relatability, or like being in the right place at the sweet spot?
Almost Famous is more of a vibe, but I think that Jerry Maguire is a better movie. Come at me, bro.
Wow. Our discussion for which is available at orwhatevermovies.com, wherever you podcast. You said that Jerry Maguire was happy crappy. Spoiler.
Yeah, but I also gave it a totally, and then for some reason fought with you over said totally.
Yeah, that's true.
That's when we were
I was defending.
We were giving ratings to movies.
I was defending Jerry Maguire. So you were put on the defense, or you were put on the offense?
Like Jerry Maguire, I just know it so well. I find little stuff to pick apart now. And obviously this is an autobiographical movie. It's a period piece, and that's maybe a little bit heady for Cameron Crowe. Not quite as easy as something contemporary like Jerry Maguire at the time or Fast Times at Ridgemont High at the time. But that doesn't, again, it's like your favorite piece of art or something. You're like, oh, I never noticed that crack in the paint, or I never noticed that hair stuck in there. I wish I could redo that and take that out of there. It's just part of the piece.
I don't really have much to base this on, except for Kate Hudson's 2 marriages to 2 rock stars. But doesn't it seem kind of autobiographical for her somehow?
Yeah, it does seem more like, Patrick Fugit didn't do much, but I don't really know anything that he was in beyond We Bought a Zoo, where he makes a kind of a quiet appearance. But yes, Kate Hudson, this came along at a very important time for her. I think she was like 18 years old, Nepo baby, and fought really hard. She was actually cast in the sister role, Anita.
Zooey Deschanel?
Yeah, and fought her way up once Sarah Polley, Academy Award-winning writer, director, actress, dropped out and moved into the spot and now has the cover image on the DVD and on the poster. Kelly Ray, after having seen this movie only once, watching it again, she's like, I thought this movie was much more about Penny Lane.
Isn't it, though?
Yeah, but there are long patches where she disappears completely.
It seems like it's kind of a three-hander in terms of the actual story arc. They all have arcs.
I suppose, in that Stillwater, and specifically, are you referring to Russell?
Yeah, Russell, William, and Penny.
Russell, his arc is that he's a little bit nicer and maybe not ready to leave, and doesn't at the last minute, chooses not to completely refute William's story to Rolling Stone. But other than that, he's in the same place and just doesn't have the girl. Less of an arc for him, I think.
It was important for his character to have cold Rolling Stone prior to Penny Lane setting him up at Williams. It was an important moment in the character's redemption. Otherwise, he would have just been, a function of Penny Lane's arc.
Originally a Brad Pitt role. Apparently after he dropped out, Sarah Polley quickly dropped out after.
No kidding. I can't picture anything but Billy Crudup's cheekbones.
Is it because you can't picture Billy Crudup in anything except Almost Famous? Every time I see him and he doesn't have the Russell Hammond mustache, I'm like, wait, where's the mustache? It's like Pedro Pascal territory.
Yeah, but also I'm terrified of Billy Crudup now because all I see is his character from J. Kelly.
But terrified in a bad way, he was great as that character. It was a pretty small role, but when when someone hands him the microphone, he really sells that character.
As the lead guitarist for Stillwater?
Sorry, I was being metaphorical. When he gets his small character moment in J. Kelly, it's memorable. And you're like, wow, why wasn't that dude Brad Pitt or whatever?
And that's the whole point, right? That there is so much of luck and circumstance in Fame, which is not apropos to Almost Famous, but he's like the embodiment of your past coming back to haunt you.
Yes.
And maybe beat you up in a parking lot.
Is it safe to say, do you think that Russell is maybe William Miller's counterpart, where he's also a kid making bad decisions, trying not to go home, and just kind of working his way through what became of him? Like he's better than these guys, and he's just trying to make sure, to find his voice sort of way. Like he's William's rock and roll counterpart in a way. And I don't want to talk about the movie Almost Famous in a negative way, really, but I came to understand in this viewing that our 3 heroes, or the people with whom you feel have the most clear arcs, are all flawed people. Almost William Miller is too young and too innocent to really have character flaws. He stumbles around and doesn't always do the right thing. I think his heart is in the right place, and that sells everything he does. But Penny Lane is an idiot and a child. She has confidence and presence and charisma, but not the best judge of people or romance outside of the scope of her world. I'm not sure she could hang without those people in the real world. She's more of a retreating to Morocco type. And Russell makes a series of bad decisions And this is aside from their ages.
Like age has nothing to do with maturity in Almost Famous? Is that what you're saying?
Age, I don't think has anything to do with maturity in rock and roll. But Kelly rubbed up against when William says, I'm about to boldly go where many men have gone before. And he's holding her up and her feet are dragging on the carpet during her overdose. And he smooches her and she's like, no, you don't kiss people when they're unconscious. And I was like, that's what you're rubbing up against? Because in the famous exchange where she says, how old are you? He says, 18. How old are we really? 17. Me too. I'm 16. And me too. I'm 15. And she stops right there. But I think her me too, when he said 16, was true. Penny Lane is 16 years old. Russell's got to be in his early 20s at least. And he said, tell your friend that we want her around like last summer, which means she was 15 and already retired as the head of a Band-Aid school. And you're like, oh, but maybe place and time. 26 years ago, that wasn't as big a thing. And of course, we're talking about the early 70s, which is just rife with these stories. If cancel culture truly comes for rock and roll, everybody's going down. They'll all be 80, but it doesn't matter. Like the 15, 16-year-old groupie, that was like a thing for sure. So, is Almost Famous unapologetically biographical and honest and personal in that way, but does that make it good or right? Are we okay to skip over the fact that they're all children, whether in mind or body or both? Like I figured that for my entire life, well, since for over a quarter century now, I figured that Russell was the hero. And now I see he's just a doof stumbling around and on acid and getting shocked and fumbling over this teenager or whatever. But he really doesn't make any good decisions in this movie.
Well, first of all really good stuff, Wes. I can tell you've thought about this movie. And now I'm like, my mind's going off in all of these different detours.
Well, I have to make my reputation on being honest and unmerciful.
Because you're a nerd.
I'm uncool.
So, but it's a little crazy to think that maybe in a different era, Paloma could be 5 years away from this, whether as a Band-Aid or as a journalist. Like it's also crazy to think about Frances McDormand allowing her 15-year-old to go traipsing off on assignment. Yeah. And that he would have the confidence to even just to come home on a plane alone. Like, I don't know, when we were in New Jersey not that long ago, we were staying with a friend who has a 12-year-old, and she and the 12-year-old had a friend, and the friends wanted to go, and they're old enough to like bop around downtown Princeton, which is very like integrated into the community. Like you cut through the university to like take a shortcut, or get to the other side of town. Like it's very small and stuff. But anyway, the 12-year-olds wanted to go bopping around town, and Paloma kind of had the option of going with them or going with the 6 and 9-year-old to the art museum, like the kids' creativity lab at the art museum. So she was like at this crossroads of her age, and she decided to go with the 12-year-olds, and she was scared.
Well, she's years away from being a teeny bopper. Can you not say bopping around anymore?
Did I say it a bunch?
You said it at least twice, and it's the oldest thing you've ever said.
She had some pocket money, and I gave her a dime to go buy a pickle.
I had a quarter. And that was enough to get me to the movie theater and get soda and a popcorn and candy. That's Mom's jam.
And she was scared, but she went for it. And then we kind of stumbled across them in town. And when the kids saw us, they like darted into a shop because they wanted to be on their own. They didn't want to see us. And they were probably afraid that we would yell things like, "Don't do drugs." and it was cute, but she's so young. In 5 years, she's going to be jet setting with a rock band. It's crazy to conceive, but I guess it was a different time, and maybe the era plays so much more of a role in this film than we're considering.
At least that I can say. This is 1972, but I remember in the early 80s running around in Hawthorne, and I know this because we moved to Torrance when I was 11 years old, which means all the crazy stuff, all the thieving, all the fireworks, all the dead bodies, the blowing up of mailboxes, climbing on roofs, breaking into places, all of that happened before, like when I was 10 years old or younger. So definitely a different time. Almost got kidnapped, ran away, stole stuff, all that crazy stuff. Definitely a different time.
So it's clear that the 1970s, that the era that this story takes place, is a character. And really, when you talk about what a movie is about, you're referring to its deeper meaning or themes. This is also a movie about the maturity of rock and roll, or some might say the corruption of rock and roll, where it becomes this commercialized enterprise. So really, isn't that what this is about? And doesn't it kind of just very perfectly underscore the coming of age journey for the characters?
Yes, yes, and yes. I admit that I'm more in line with the Frances McDormand character now. We did get the misdirect where she was like, no more than 4 days. And you're like, what? He's like 12. But whatever. And from what she said in interviews, the character that she plays trusts her son implicitly. And she's letting him make his own decisions in the face of what she knows or what she considers to be dangerous temptations. Okay, but even still, I was like, that's a neat misdirect, but I don't know if it's true to the character that she would actually let him go at such a young age. But yes, this is why I'm saying that I'm maybe a little too old for this movie at the time, but when I was 16, had just gotten my driver's license. I climbed out the window and stole Mom's car and took it to Tower Records, bought a Pearl Jam CD, listened to it in the parking lot, then drove home and listened to it all night and was all bleary-eyed for school the next day, for sure. Like when he says, I'm going, she says, have fun at the dance. And he goes from San Diego up to Sunset to the Riot House. I was like, yeah, that's the jam that this movie is going for. And at the time I was already too old to remember that sort of stuff. But I certainly remember doing it. And I think that is what this movie evokes, is that time of recklessness and wildness and loving some stupid piece of music in a band so much that it hurts.
Choice Hotels get you more of what you value. Comfort Inn, it's calling your name. Save on the stay. Oh, and free waffles are yours to claim. Book direct at choicehotels.com.
And we're live from the living room as Doug eyes up the match day spread. He's reaching for the buffalo wing. Perfect! Hang on, what's this? Oh, he's gone for a can of Pepsi too! Incredible! What a finish! Sensational combination. Look at the delight on his face. There's no doubt about it. It just tastes better. Match days deserve Pepsi. Food deserves Pepsi. Grab a pack of Pepsi Zero Sugar for today's match. It's poetry in motion.
I don't think it was out of line or out of character for the Frances McDormand mom, Elaine character, to let both of her children make the decisions that they were going to make. Because really, as a parent, what other choice do you have? She could have exerted her will over Anita, even though Anita was 18 years old and was going to do what she was going to do anyway. And perhaps she knew that. She knew that she could, but it would only drive a wedge between her and her daughter. And she was really acting from a place of love and trust, and maybe a little bit of naivety on her own part, feeling like, well, I've done my job. I've instilled my values in my children, and I've lived my values as a model, and they're modeling that for them as they've grown up and they're impressionable or whatever. But also, just ultimately, it feels like a logical choice, because what choice do you have as a parent or as a partner or as a friend other than to let the other person make the choices that they're going to make?
Maybe the hardest lesson of adulthood and thus parenthood is letting go, where you believe that you know what's best and you're in control for so long, and then to relinquish that control, to let the baby bird fly. What's the expression? If you love something, let it go. If it returns to you, it was meant to be. If not, then screw you or whatever. She knew that
More or
Anita
less.
would come back, would spread her wings, fly away, and would eventually return and apologize.
But she didn't apologize.
Right.
She would return and she could forgive her.
Yeah, but
apology or no.
But you could laugh about it. And all William wants to do, for all his debauchery and losing his virginity on the road, all he wants to do is come back and embrace his bed. And she knew that. I don't want this role. I didn't ask for this role, but I'll take it. And you're going to meet the person on the other end of this phone if you harm my son in any way. And then she does. She looks Russell Hammond in the face. And that was the most, like, that was the biggest key in Penny's evolution and her arc.
Yeah.
Was that
right.
she does that William in the real world, none of those people are essential. Penny Lane was effectively acting as Russell's mother, and so was Elaine, and he didn't have apparently anything like that. Tough stuff, trying not to go home wherever home is.
Russell was trying not to go home?
Yeah, this is the circus. We're all trying not to go home. Nobody's feelings are getting hurt. $50 and a case of Heineken to Humble Pie, from Humble Pie.
That was pretty shitty.
It is, but he knows what has to be done, which is getting rid of the Band-Aids so that Leslie can come in New York, his girlfriend / ex situation. And I can't even say her name.
Ex-wife?
I don't know. Was it ex-wife?
I think so. I think it's a girlfriend, ex-wife, maybe fiance.
But I'm telling you, man, they've got their stuff together and they've got their little fur-lined coats and they've got their sunglasses and glitter or whatever. But still, like, for all their talk about show some respect, that's, she's the one who changed it. We're there for the music and stuff. And then Sabbath rolls by in the limousine and they all lose their shit and start yelling, "Oh my God, it's Ozzy!" They're all children, and I feel protective, like I need a family whistle or something.
I was 20 when I went to the Viper Room in leather pants.
Wow.
To get hit on by Emmy.
Dave Immergluck? That's weird, dude.
So you think this is his most important movie in his body of work because of how autobiographical it is?
Yeah, I think it's the most honest, even though some of it plays kind of weird to me. But, we discovered Kate Hudson, and I guess that's full circle now because a quarter century later, she's back with her second, after this one, with her second Oscar nomination for Song Sung Blue, in which she is the musician now and is singing and performing for real, as in fact all of Stillwater did after extensive rock school. And this is, to me, Philip Seymour Hoffman playing his most Philip Seymour Hoffman-esque character ever.
Huh.
A really, I think, immersive personal movie that only comes along once in a lifetime. Unfortunately for some people, it's The Fabelmans. But I think Cameron Crowe had a real reason to tell his story, and we're better for it, I think. It's just his story is not PC. And while he wasn't the instigator because he was the innocent William Miller character and age, still, there was a lot of real stuff that was done to him and around him that, like the restaurant industry or some other industries, the whole PC thing really doesn't apply. Like, there's no HR for Stillwater.
But is this a movie for teenagers?
This movie is rated R. I think it's just because the ratings board is like, oh, nudity, oh, drug use, oh, profanity or whatever, But it's just turning a lens or a light or a camera or whatever on stuff that really happens. And I have no doubt this movie has actually been criticized. Like, they're like, you had this R rating, but you didn't go hard enough to deserve that R, which is very curious. I think that it is correct.
Is it supposed to go dark?
Well, I guess I don't know if the criticism was because he had the R rating and thus had the opportunity, but then made rock and roll more safe. Like, we did have one of our main beloved characters overdose and nearly die. Nobody got murdered or nobody actually did die, but there was the potential for that. So to answer your question, I think a teenager who is a real teenager in the world and who is almost certainly doing stuff like this in a modern context, I don't think this movie is too much for teenagers, but I don't know that you should show it to Paloma right now. If she's gonna be a Band-Aid, you don't want to look back and be like, it's because I put Almost Famous on for her.
I qualified that to say that she could be the journalist in this situation because she could. It's just, it would be a different story if the William character was Wilma. But the movie talks a lot, curiously, about the real world. And to be honest, I was pretty curious to see what Lady's real life looked like. Does she live in a bungalow in San Diego?
There's no way. She lives with her family, and her family might be more dysfunctional. But I mean, everyone's dysfunctional. William Miller's family was dysfunctional, probably just in a different way. But she had the freedom, hippie-loving, marry a good man lady kind of thing, right? It's not like her mom was dead. And she also can somehow afford a ticket to Morocco and leave her parents for, I mean, that was a pretty nice house.
What was a pretty nice house?
When we got a glimpse of Penny's house when she's talking to Russell. In fact, she says hello, and he's like, Penny, it's Russell. Don't hang up. He doesn't know if that's her. That could be Elaine, the Penny's version of Elaine on the other end.
So she has a suburban home, but we don't get that glimpse. And this movie talks a lot about real world versus, I don't know, fake world. Are they living in a fake reality? I don't think so. Can you learn a lot? Can your school just be different? Is this not all their school? Is school just kind of where you are during those impressionable sponge, take it all in years? I guess it's untraditional, but to me that feels like learning.
I'm going to argue it's different. The only thing I really have to compare, I never took like the debaucherous road trips or whatever, and I never disappeared for actually, that's not true. The closest maybe that I can compare is summer camp. Summer camp is, in my case, with some of the same kids from middle school, and yet in a completely different context where you're not completely free. There's an illusion of being free from your home life and thus being different. And I remember wild times at YMCA camp and sneaking out when the counselors fell asleep and all that kind of stuff. And I remember seeing these untouchable cheerleader middle school girls running around and maybe even getting drunk and stuff and like making out in the bushes at YMCA camp.
At Camp Round Meadow?
I'm saying it's different than home life. And it's this idea or illusion of freedom, of never wanting to have to leave the circus, where you can do whatever you want to do. And that's all kids want, is to be able to flex those muscles, is to see if those wings will actually lift them off the ground. And the parents are like, be careful, wear your seatbelt, don't do drugs, call me twice a day, or whatever. It's just and you know, if you're a rock star, then you continue that. They never grow up if they don't have to. I'm not sure anyone does. Because of the impermanence of summer camp and the fact that the tour has to end eventually, and then they all have wives. Some of them have wives or girlfriends at home. Yeah, it's different. It's different because of its impermanence.
I'm thinking about Macaulay Culkin on the Smartless episode where he talks about having had a peerless adolescence. He wasn't an adult. He wasn't a kid. He didn't have the prototypical junior high and high school experiences. Seemed to take that kind of rough.
Yeah.
Seemed like he had to work out a lot of stuff around his very early acquired fame. But it in and of itself, that unique experience, that uniqueness isn't bad.
Do you know why?
Why?
Kids are idiots. But to what you were saying earlier, you're talking about school in particular and your education or your rite of passage. I did feel like him missing a test or two tests or even his graduation, and our pending graduate, William Miller. He actually graduated. Cameron Crowe actually graduated 2 years early, but it didn't matter to me. To your point, what mattered was getting his story, which in fact, both in the movie and in real life, became his first ever Rolling Stone cover issue interview. And he wasn't going to follow her, Elaine's chosen profession for him of law. He was going to be a musician and a filmmaker and a writer and an Oscar winner. And it didn't have anything to do with graduation. So in that way, yes, your education, your school is what's around you. It's just that you don't have, it's not just the experiences to which you're subjected, but the structure that helps you retain and apply that learning to your ordinary life. Because as much as kids don't want to admit it, they're kids for a reason. And when Macaulay Culkin is peerless and has nobody and is vastly successful and has to has to divorce his parents, or what was it? What's the term? Emancipated?
Custodianship?
Yeah, and that's horrible. He doesn't have the emotional security grounding. Maybe that's required to make the best choices because, sorry, when you're a kid, you're an idiot. And that's why the legal age of consent is 18 for a reason. Sorry, I agree. It must be hard. And you see through repetition how difficult it can be. I don't know if Cameron Crowe is the most responsible, centered dude just because he was the innocent in this situation. Kieran's kind of crazy too, right?
What did you say? I bet he's wearing childish bracelets.
Well, his thing was that he was always wearing like 6 or 8 or 15 beads or color because his kids would give it to him. His kids are the absolute center of his world. But this is compensation for him not having parents to speak of to look after him at every turn, which he seems fully inclined to do. It's like dad not wanting to yell or not wanting to reprimand or give us any guidance because his parents were so strict. His dad in particular was so strict and attitudey and then collapsed from a heart attack at 63. It's all reactionary. And if you don't have, it's hard to make your way as a kid and then into adulthood, and you complete the cycle by messing up your own kids.
And I think we as parents and even as partners and friends give ourselves too much credit for the influence we have on people when it's really just the kid's nature.
I have to amend earlier, it's not no kissing people when they're unconscious. It's no kissing people when they're on drugs. That's Kelly Ray's line.
It's or just consentless at all. But
Right.
It was an important moment for his character. Important but ill-timed moment. He's declaring his love. He's also actively being a hero and doing what someone who really loves someone should do. Does he understand the gravity of the situation? It seems like compartments of him do. Is he play acting his bold confession? I think he's trying it on for size, but I think it's Roger Ebert who talks about the William character's evolution and how this isn't the most important event of his life, but this is maybe one of the most important moments to equip him for what he's going to face in his life.
As a teenager, and in that way, super honest. And what was it? Honest and unmerciful, a depiction of teenage life. The term I came up with for Almost Famous at Large is organic drowsiness. Like, this is natural. This is the way it was. And I get that it's not the same, and probably for the better that it's not the same now, but it's the opposite of willful wokeness. Organic drowsiness.
Sounds kind of pot-induced.
Yeah, definitely. And I don't think this movie could be made today. And that's maybe why it's important. Because it's a time capsule not only of the early 70s and for that very particular formative time in Cameron Crowe's life, but can't happen today.
So, and therefore indicative of turn-of-the-century cinema?
Oh, it does happen today, for sure. Can't be shown in a movie that everybody loves and considers a... What you didn't call it a kid's movie, but you seem to be set on this idea that it's still appropriate for people of William Miller's age.
Well, just you kept on saying that you were too old for it.
I was just 10 years older than William Miller when this movie was released. I was probably older than everyone in Stillwater. And so I lost a little bit of that. I'm going to go on the road with a band that I love instead of taking a test in high school, is all I'm saying. Cameron Crowe was a fixture of mid-90s, early 2000s cinema and has largely dropped off. So we're focusing on him for Cameron Crowe's month. How do you feel that Almost Famous fits into his body of work?
Yeah, this was maybe the crest of the wave, both personally and professionally. And in a kind of ironic way, he goes in this high spectacle commercialized direction with Vanilla Sky, with Penelope Cruz and Tom Cruise just a few years later.
Yeah, I'm not sure how realistic these scenarios are. And there were some fanciful kind of ones in Jerry Maguire too. It's kind of his thing. But I think he comes from a place of real earnestness, honestness, and experience. Gotta love it.
And that's our discussion on Almost Famous from 2000, available at the time of this screening on Paramount Plus or whatevermovies.com or wherever you get podcasts. 818-835-0473 is how you text us or call us and leave us a voicemail. We love to hear from you, especially in the form of reviews, so please be nice on social media. Also, if you enjoyed this episode or if you enjoyed this themed Cameron Crowe month, share it with your friends. It helps people find Or Whatever Movies. Thank you, and we'll see you next time.
Ryan Reynolds here from Mint Mobile. I don't know if you knew this, but anyone can get the same premium wireless for $15 a month plan that I've been enjoying. It's not just for celebrities. So do like I did and have one of your assistants switch you to Mint Mobile today. I'm told it's super easy to do at mintmobile.com/switch.
Upfront payment of $45 for 3-month plan, equivalent to $15 per month required. Intro rate first 3 months only, then full price plan options available. Taxes and fees extra. See full terms at mintmobile.com.
I sold my car in Carvana last night.
Well, that's cool.
No, you don't understand. It went perfectly. Real offer, down to the penny. They're picking it up tomorrow. Nothing went wrong.
So, what's the problem?
That is the problem. Nothing in my life goes as smoothly. I'm waiting for the catch.
Maybe there's no catch.
That's exactly what a catch would want me to think.
Wow, you need to relax.
I need to knock on wood. Do we have wood? Is this table wood?
I think it's laminate.
Okay, yeah, that's good. That's close enough.
Car selling without a catch. Sell your car today on Carvana. Pickup fees may apply.
Electricast.